What's good, y'all? It's the one and only Nappyhead Fred coming back to y'all with another album review. Okay, that was cringe. Let me start over. What's good, y'all? It's the one and only Nappyhead Fred coming back to y'all with another album review of Big L Lifestyles Over the Poor and Dangerous. This is Big L's first studio album released March 28th, 1995 under Columbia Records. So, without any further ado, let's hop into this album review.
Hey yo, you better flee hops or get your head flown 3 blocks. L keep rappers' hearts pumping like beatbox. And every
first song we got on this album is Put It On. I think this was an amazing track to start off the album. The production is amazing and the lyricism is through the roof, but we'll be able to talk about it further within this video. I think starting off with the production, I like the creative sounds that he has around the production, just having different instruments and just high-end quality just sounds, especially from 1995, which was very surprising. But I think overall the beat type was very, very good. I feel like when it comes to the lyricism, though, he was able to flow through the track amazingly well. And even if we wanted to go with his flow was definitely untouchable. His lyricism, I mean, y'all already know, it's literally through the roof. His rhyme schemes were amazing. There's really not a lot of bad things I could say about this song, honestly. I feel like also it definitely has a very catchy hook that I feel like everybody can get a good, chant to, especially in a packed arena, especially around that time. But I feel like a lot of quotable lyrics are within this song as well. So that's what makes this song very, very enjoyable. I could listen to this consistently. And like I said, for the first song on the album, definitely a very strong start.
Hey yo, spark up the Phillies and pass the stout. Make it quick, money grip, on your asses out in the street.
Next song we got on here is MVP. I was a little iffy about this song when I had first listened to it due to like the sampling and the production in the background. But I've honestly grown to like it over time. I feel like the sampling is honestly really good, very iconic. If y'all heard the sampling, y'all hear it on Biggie's song, y'all hear it on gosh, I can't think of her name at the moment, but I'll probably pop her up on my screen. She has a sample of it. And I feel like overall the beat type is definitely a lot different from the other samples that I've heard of this song. So I feel like he definitely based it on creativity and just made it a little more focused than maybe the other ones. But with all that being said, I feel like his flow was definitely on par with the production. I feel like he was able to just keep up with the pace. I feel like subject matters, he's definitely representing that he is the MVP of rap. And I feel like he said that in a strong message. A lot of rappers nowadays don't claim that they're the best rapper, but I feel like Big L was definitely claiming at that time, even with the Tupacs being out there, the Biggies, like the Nas's, like he was still saying, I am the best rapper ever, basically in the world. So I feel like he had a strong message with that. But also, I feel like his rhyme schemes were very, very dope too. Very underrated. And I would honestly say this song in particular is very underrated if we're talking about the rest of the songs within the album. So definitely a dope song. It was a song that I maybe didn't like maybe a couple months ago, but I've grown to like even more because his lyrical like genes are like insane. So definitely a dope, definitely a dope song.
Let me get to the point real quick. When your pockets are thick, man, chicks be on a brother tip. When you're sporting jewels and driving in.
Next song we got on here is No Ends, No Skins. I think this song definitely represents today. I am very impressed with his storytelling, and we're gonna get into it. First off, starting off with the production, it's not the best production I've heard. It's kind of like janky, which janky is fine in some aspects, but it wasn't a good enough janky to keep me engaged into the production. So overall, I would say the production is kind of mid because it's just not all the way there. But I think the best part about this song is obviously the storytelling. Now, when I said earlier, this is kind of relatable to today's generation, he's basically saying if you ain't got no bread, then you ain't getting no head in a way. Like, you ain't getting these fine girls out here because that's what women want nowadays. Now, I won't speak for every woman out there. There's most women that don't care for that, but like most women really do. And I feel like he represented the storytelling in the most perfect way possible. I feel like, again, this is another one of those really underrated songs that I feel like people kind of skip over because maybe the production doesn't sound good, but the storytelling is so relatable that I feel like you have to pay attention because this came out in 1995, and the fact that this is still going on today, it's almost like he predicted the future. I'm not even going to lie. So overall, I would say a good song. It's not a song I would listen to often, but I feel like for storytelling purposes, it's definitely up there with one of the better storytelling songs I've heard in probably a long time.
Hey yo, folks who quote what I wrote get choked. They better surrender before you get smoked. Them niggas be thinking this kid is a joke. I put jumps to rest fast.
Next song we got on here is 8 Is Enough. Hopefully I said that right because it's like spelled so weirdly. I think this song is definitely very, very underrated again. I don't know how many times I'm gonna say that within this video, but it's probably gonna be a lot. I feel like when we start off with the production again, not the craziest production. I feel like the different instruments and the kind of drums add a little flavor to it, but the sound of the production isn't really nothing too crazy. It's more of kind of that darker side production that isn't very noticeable. But I feel like once you get into the lyricism, his cadence on here is insane. I don't know how he was able to do it on such a slow beat, but he was able to keep up with the beat at such a fast pace like cadence. And it was just, you can't really emulate that at all. So I was definitely impressed with his lyricism, his wordplay, his cadence, like I said, and the way he was just able to flow through the track with a slower production that I feel like not many artists can really do, especially nowadays. So I'm impressed. I think this is, again, one of those underrated songs that I feel like people definitely need to go back to.
Once again, it's the Big L, that kid who got much props for killing corrupt cops with motherfucking buck shots. So don't step.
Next song we got on here is All Black. This song to me was very, very impressive, especially I'm probably going to repeat this so many times, but when we get into the storytelling, y'all know what I'm talking about. So I feel like the production overall, I was a little more impressed because it had such an ongoing weird sound, but it fit within the scheme of what Big L was going to explain within this song. I feel like the production definitely gives you that New York kind of sound, and it's very just like horrorcore kind of production. And, you know, I feel like it makes sense on what he's about to say, which I'm about to tell y'all because I know some of y'all are probably anxious on what this song is about. So from a storytelling aspect, this is basically murder music. This is basically don't mess with Big L because he will mess with you and your family. And he described it in such a gruesome way that you're just like, wow, this dude is a murderer. But honestly, what rapper at that time didn't have music like this? So I feel like at the time it's very common, but going back to it, it's like this music was definitely ahead of its time. And I feel like he described it in the best way by saying wearing all black. Like wearing all black to a funeral is very common, and you know, it just makes sense with the concept he was able to put up with. So I feel like, again, another really underrated song when it comes to the storytelling. Now, I won't say I listen to this song often because it isn't really that kind of song you put on repeat, but I do feel like from a storytelling aspect and from, I guess, if you're very psychotic, if you feel like you want to do something to somebody, maybe you could listen to this song. But overall, I would say a really good song, honestly.
Else the niggas that crime follows. I'm hitting fine models and stabbing punks with broken wine bottles. I beat chumps today.
Next song we got on here is Danger Zone. Danger Zone is honestly another really good song that I feel like people don't get enough attention with. I feel like when we get into the production definitely gives you that really thump of like, I don't know if it's a certain like guitar, I don't know what it's called, but it's something, it's one of them big things that you like play with like your fingers. I don't know. Y'all do what you will at that. But overall, I feel like it brings that very dark horrorcore sound where it sounds like he's gonna talk about something very, very melodic and just not melodic, but like horrorcore, just kind of murder music again to the next level. I feel like his flow on here was definitely really good as well. I enjoyed his cadence. Even on a slow beat, he was able to just have very slick lines in there, very just sick bars, and I was just like, dude, this man, I mean, is on another level. So I definitely enjoyed this song a lot. I mean, again, another underrated song.
As a young teen, you never know when you're gonna get wet. Cause mad clowns be catching wreck with a tech just to get a rep.
Next song we got on here is Street Struck. Street Struck, I think, is one of those songs where you really have to pay attention to the lyrics. Not to say throughout the whole album you don't, but within this song, I feel like the storytelling is very important. But when we talk about the production, I feel like the production is honestly pretty cool. I like the piano in the background. It had a really nice like sampling in the background that made it kind of very enjoyable in a way, and I will honestly say it is one of the more popular songs on the album, so you probably heard it at some point. But I do feel like from a storytelling aspect is where we want to get to. I feel like he sends some very important messages that I didn't think he would be able to send, because throughout the album he was talking about like murdering somebody and killing people and sending families to funeral homes and stuff like that. But I feel like with this song, he definitely gave a good message of, don't sell drugs, don't do this, don't do that. Find a path that will make you successful. And he honestly described a lot of guys, having really good lyrics and bars that wind up still selling crack and, cocaine and just not really focusing on the goal. And, they wind up getting killed. So he's basically just giving a good message of don't do that kind of stuff. Find different ways to make money, find different ways to live. And I feel like overall that's an important message to just pay attention to. So I feel like messaging was very well, storytelling was very well. The funny part is I don't feel like his flow and stuff was crazy, but I feel like just a storytelling aspect, like I said, it's good for that reason. So definitely a great song.
They'll be like niggas like incense, getting men lynched, doing tips, no killing infants for 10 cents. Cause I'm a street genius.
Next song we got on here is The Graveyard. This song in particularly is such a it's such an overwhelming song that I was not expecting features at all, but I think I heard a couple Wu-Tang members. Um, Ironically, Wu-Tang, but I'm just not sure who's the features on this song exactly. Now, when we get into the production, it definitely gives you that New York grimy kind of sound with a siren in the background ongoing, which I think adds a really nice touch. So it gets you into what you're going to be listening to pretty much. I feel like the lyricism from everybody was very well put together. It's just, I don't know who the features were. I think I heard Jizza or Method Man at some point, but like I don't exactly know who could have featured on this particular song, but I'll find out at some point. But I feel like overall this song was honestly pretty good. I just wasn't expecting a feature overall, but I feel like everybody did their part very well and flowed through the track very well. So honestly, I'd say a pretty good song.
My name is L and I'm from a part of town where clowns get beat down and all you hear is gunshot sounds.
Next song we got on here is Lifestyles Over the Poor and Dangerous, self-titled. I don't hate this song necessarily, but it's just not one of those songs that keeps me engaged as much. I feel like the production is kind of on the lower end where you hear a couple thumps of the guitar or just whatever the big thing that I described was. I feel like the sound of the production isn't really nothing that crazy, Then when you get into the lyricism, I feel like his lyricism is still good, but I feel like his flow and his energy just isn't there, and he feels kind of sluggish on this song, if I'm being honest. I feel like if I had to think of the worst song on this album, it would probably be this, but it's not to a point where it ranks as one of the worst songs ever. It's just within this album, if I had to choose. It's not one of those songs I would necessarily skip, but I just feel like he needed a little more energy to make it more enthusiastic because I feel like the production was already very boring. So overall, I would say it's a mid song, but it's not the worst mid song I've heard. I've heard a lot of worse mid songs, and I feel like this one is probably up there in terms of being more good than like bad.
There are too many MCs who are overrated. You asked me that wasn't even supposed to make it. And the
Next song we got on here is I Don't Understand It. Another song that I feel like he just predicted the future. I don't know how he does it. This man's a one of a kind. Let me just say that. So when it comes to the production, I feel like the production is honestly cool. It got a little groove to it. I don't feel like it's nothing crazy. I feel like the beat type is cool. The sound of it is just kind of a moody kind of production, and I feel like it's just sounded with his lyrics overall. But when it comes to the lyrics, that's when we have to talk about like his predicting the future kind of thing. Because I feel like he definitely exposed a lot of like MCs back then where they had really good production, but their lyrics were very whack. And the reason why I say that predicts the future today, because there is a lot of that where the production is amazing, but the lyrics are not that great. Like they're probably the worst lyrics you've ever heard. So I feel like even with the time being, even at that time, 1995, of him hearing like MCs like not have the best lyrics and have trash lyrics, I could only imagine he comes in this generation. I mean, he's gonna probably be sick to his stomach. But I feel like overall, this is definitely a really good song. It's not a song I would listen to often, but from a storytelling aspect and for a future prediction, I just feel like it ages like fine wine.
That's the brother that's big. I'm not a little kid. I'm a nigga who don't dig a motherfucking pig. Cause to me, they ain't.
Next song we got on here is Fed Up with the Bull Crap. Let's just say that. I feel like this song was definitely really dope too, especially the production. I did enjoy the sampling and just a really good beat type to this song. So I would definitely say one of the better productions throughout the album. But I feel like his wordplay and lyricism was definitely really good. He wasn't like fast cadence with it, but I do feel like his flow matched the energy of the production overall. So I feel like I enjoyed that a lot. And I just feel like as a song in general, I feel like I can definitely listen to this more often than not because it still sounds good till this day. And I feel like the production definitely ages very well. So definitely another underrated song within this album and definitely needs to get paid attention to a little more.
I'm not the type to joke a lot dressed in all black, never seen in polka dots. No other right rhymes like these.
The last song we have on this album is Let 'Em Have It, L. I thought this song was definitely a amazing ending to the album. Obviously representing like Let 'Em Have It, L. Like, I thought that was a really good concept and a really great hook in general. I feel like the production was definitely really good as well. It definitely had like more of a darker kind of murderous kind of sound, but it sounded really good, especially with the different sounds that you can get within the production. But I feel like his lyricism was definitely really dope. I feel like he was just freestyling at this point. He wasn't planning on writing nothing down. I just feel like he had a really nice flow. He was able to freestyle his way in there. And obviously, like I said, the hook was very catchy. Just having a whole anthem of Let 'Em Have It, L. I thought that was really dope. So overall, again, another... I'm probably going to say this a lot, but another underrated song in terms of just the wordplay. I feel like the production is honestly really good, and the hook is honestly very catchy. So definitely a really dope song overall. All right, y'all. It is time to break this album down in one, two, three, four, five, six credentials that I feel like will rate the album in a way that is comfortable for me. So the first one we got is production. I feel like the production overall was solid. I don't hate it that much. I just feel like there were certain production that kind of lacked a little bit of creativity, and then there was some production that approved creativity. But I feel like for a New York sound, especially in 1995, the quality couldn't have gotten any better than what he was getting. But I feel like Big L is a freestyler, so he could probably freestyle on any kind of production and just make it gold. And I feel like he was able to do that within this album. So, as far as production, if I'm rating it 1 through 10, I would give it about a 6. Next one we got is features. Now, I didn't hear very many features within the album. I've only heard like a couple, well, specifically one feature on one particular song, which I mentioned was probably like the Wu-Tang. I feel like that feature was cool. Now, would I have added more features to this album? Not necessarily. I feel like he didn't need to because his lyricism was just that good that he could have 3 verses that equals up to a feature. And, I feel like he was good without it. So if I had to rate the features wise, I would probably rate the features like a good 8. Next, we got rap performance. I don't think I need to explain to y'all. I'm just going to give this a 10 right off the rip. Rap performance was amazing when it comes to his flow, his cadence, his wordplay, everything as a whole. He pretty much he owned it. And that's pretty much the best part about this album is literally the rap performance. So yeah, I don't think I need to explain to y'all why the rap performance was that good. Next up we got is context. I feel like from a storytelling aspect, it definitely brought the context within the album. I feel like he was able to explain different scenarios where he learned how to just rob dudes and, obviously make murder music, but honestly just make really good storytelling music as well. So I feel like context wise, I definitely have to give it um honestly I'll give it a 10 out of 10. I feel like context, he was on context with literally every song, so he never shaded away from it at all. Next one we got is creativity. This kind of equals up to the context, but I feel like creativity was definitely able to talk about different subjects at different times to match the production in general, which I really enjoyed. He just gave us a flavor of just everything that is New York, and I feel like he did that to the fullest, especially with his first studio album. So creativity, I would definitely give a good 10 out of 10 again. I mean, I don't know if that's like glazing, but I feel like his creativity was pretty good on here. If I wanted to base it off of creativity of production, then I would do that, but I'm just basing it off of just, the different sounds of him and just the different lyricism that he was able to give me. And last but not least, we got the album cover. Of course, this is probably the most appealing thing that you find within the album. I feel like the album cover's cool. He's obviously standing with his crew, and I don't know what street it is, but I know it got to be in New York. I feel like it's a pretty iconic album cover that I feel like somebody could replicate in the near future and just add a little flavor to it. In terms of like every other album cover, it's not like up there, but I feel like for the time being, it's a very iconic album cover in general. So I would honestly give it a good 6. Actually, yeah, a good 6 out of 10. So with all that being said, I'm giving this album a 9 out of 10. That will conclude today's video. I hope y'all enjoyed. If y'all did, like, subscribe, and comment down below what other albums y'all want me to do. Also, click the link down in my description for all my social medias. But yeah, I'll catch y'all on the next one, man.